Good morning, beautiful people. How are you today? All good, I hope. I was chatting to a friend yesterday and we were talking about change. He was on a beach, he was watching the waves rolling in. He was looking at the trees and the leaves blowing in the wind. He was watching the acorns fall, the clouds moving in the sky. And we were both reminded that nature is always changing. The world is in a constant state of transformation. And while from a distance nature is the ultimate example of stillness, when you get up close and personal with nature, you see that there's always transformation. There's always new colours, there's always movement, there's always life, there's always death, there's always magic. Whether it's animals growing, whether it's babies being born, whether it's chicks hatching, whether it's leaves falling, whether it's flowers blooming, whether it's the weather changing, whether it's the sun going behind a cloud, whether it's trees crashing in the forest. And then we were talking about our lives, human beings' lives, the life of a human being. And we both realised that all the key moments of our lives have been underlined by change. The moments when perhaps we've had the most fear, where we've needed to draw upon the most amount of courage. And yet somehow, in that transition, in that transformation, in that change, we ended up thriving. We ended up turning the corner. We ended up capitalizing on an opportunity. We ended up adapting. And while when we look forward, it was scary, when we look back, it's beautiful. It was our greatest impetus for growth. And there's still a lot of people obsessing about COVID-19 and the problems that it's creating for them and how miserable the world is and how they can't wait for 2021. And while there is great sadness around the world with the people who have died, the people who are sick, and I in no way belittle this because these are huge moments in people's lives, huge moments of growth and learning and questioning. If we're willing to accept the changes and the impact that it has on us and our lives, on our planet, on our jobs, on our families, on ourselves, can you see the positives? Can you see new seeds being sown? Can you see new flowers blooming? Can you see new life in the darkness? And I think the greatest way to get through this very challenging period is to create, to be creative, to love, to accept the change, to see the opportunities in the change. And while most people obsess about the possibility of them dying, because this has really opened our eyes to death, to the reality of death. If we don't obsess about this, and if we realize that death is just the closing of one door and the opening of another, then suddenly we have no reason to be scared, no reason to fear the end. And while COVID-19 invites tremendous change in our lives, we can't travel like we used to, we can't go on holiday like we used to. Maybe we're not getting as much work as we used to. Maybe we really having to think about our perspective on the world. Doing a deep dive on our own health. Are we healthy enough? Do we eat the right food? Do we look after our bodies? Are we doing the best we can to look after the vehicle, the vessel in which we live, in which our soul is housed, to be able to thrive to the maximum in this lifetime? And my friend also said that while they don't really fear death, they fear illness, sickness, pain. And in this lifetime, I have no memory of what it's like to be close to death or to be in so much pain that life is almost impossible to tolerate. But I was just wondering if, within that suffering, within that pain, within that illness, is there a gift? And is there grace? Is this an opportunity for us to see the places where we can grow? To accept that sometimes we do get sick? Is it a message for us to slow down, to stop? Is it a message for us to start having a better diet, a better exercise regime? Is it that we push all our negative energy and all our frustration, our emotional suffering into one particular part of our body? And are we willing to let go of that so that we can let go of the illness? Now, we all have to die at some point. And so it might be that it's close to the end. But even in those last few days of your life, you have the opportunity to let go and to learn that lesson that you were meant to learn in this lifetime. It's never too late. The only issue with doing it so late on in life, You deny yourself the opportunity to really embrace that, to taste that freedom of life. Because if you do it with 1 or 2 or 3 days to go, or in the last hour of your lifetime, it's not a huge amount of time to enjoy that freedom. But I remember witnessing a miracle when my mum went into hospital in 2018 and we were told she had 1 week to live. She'd been smoking for 40, 45 years, non-stop, 30, 40 cigarettes a day. She got offered that opportunity by God or by spirit or by life or by herself to live on beyond that. I'm in no doubt that there was a date in her spiritual calendar which said she could die on this day, in July 2018. And yet, because she took the decision to live on, to stop smoking, to change, to open her eyes to a different world, she was given some extra time on this planet to enjoy that freedom. For a lot of people, growth can be painful. Change can be painful. It can look very ugly when you stare it deep in the eyes. And yet, if you stay there in that place, if you go down that road, if you find that courage, you suddenly find a new place where you belong. And nothing is more painful than actually staying stuck in that old place. And that is where so many lives are crystallized, where so many people are stagnating. And these are probably the people who, during COVID-19, are really struggling and perhaps might not get through it because they're not willing to see the beauty in the change. They're not willing to see the opportunity within this new world. This very confusing, very different atmosphere that we have right now. And if you're really keyed into change, and you really don't like change, what you can do is you can be the transformer yourself. If you put yourself in control of your own life, of your own destiny, and you don't allow things like COVID-19 to dictate you don't let that whole story and that whole narrative be written by the broadcasters, the radio stations, the media. If you put your own spin on COVID-19, it was a great opportunity for me to start a new business. Suddenly I created a new aspect to my healing sessions. I really help people by setting up yoga classes. Suddenly it was an opportunity to do more numerology because everybody was confused and they wanted to see their futures. Because for the soul doctors of the earth, for you, this is an amazing opportunity because the world right now needs you more than ever before. All this wisdom that you've accumulated over the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years. The stuff that many people at that time perhaps thought was a bit woo and a bit out there and a bit strange, a bit new worldy, a bit funky. Suddenly, everyone's turning in our direction and they're going, oh, hold on. Is there a bigger reason for all this happening? A lot of people are turning within, becoming introspective. And as they do that, they suddenly start to question all the things they've been told in the past. Change the game. Don't let the game change you. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. Be like a flower. Survive the rain, but not only that, use it to allow you to grow. Perhaps the secret of getting through a period like this, a period of great change, is to not focus your energy on fighting what is, but instead to accept what is going on and to put that energy into building your future, to building the new version of yourself, into embracing the change. Welcome change as a rule, but do not allow it to be the ruler. And I think it was Rumi who said, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I've decided to change myself. Because ultimately this is your world that you live in. You create your future. The more willing you are to accept that the world is changing, the more open you are to all this transformation, the greater the opportunity you have to become the ultimate you. And if suddenly you hit the buffers, you get to some red lights, nothing seems to be moving, and you really sense that you can't change something, then the one thing you can do is change your attitude. You can change your perspective. You can look at it with new eyes. You can go into that heart space. You can see the beauty in it. You can see the opportunity. And if you always come from a place of the heart, that space of love, and you don't let the voices in your head control you. Oh, you can't change that. You've never been able to do that. You've never been good at that. That's for young people. That's for old people. That's for wise people. I can't do that. It's not my kind of thing. It's not my colour. I've never been good at that. If you switch that round and you say, no, wow, this is something I've never tried before. I should give this a go. There's an opportunity in this. There's a chance that I can bring my energy to this and really make it special, unique, spectacular. And instead of getting stuck in the fear, getting stuck in the moment, getting stuck in the past, do what Jamie Cato said in the interview I did with him. Turn it into rocket fuel. All those negative experiences, all those experiences you really think were not good in your life. What did they teach you? What did you learn? Where was the gift? Is that an opportunity for you to go out there and turn it to a whole new level? Because creating something from nothing is powerful, but creating something from a place of fear, a place of great learning, a place where you've been hurt, where you felt the greatest pain in your life, but you also felt the greatest growth. And because you've already been there, that is a great opportunity to help somebody else who's in the same situation. When your heart was pounding and you said, I can't do it, and then you did, you got through it. Think of the power that's been created there. Think of the transformational energy. Because the only way to make sense of change is to plunge deep into it with open eyes and open heart and to be yourself. And while other people are left standing there, fearing the worst, fearing death, fearing the end of their career, fearing the fact that they have not got the talent or the ability or they've never understood how to do something like that. Stuck in the mud. You've gone headlong into this change. And yes, you've probably made some mistakes. Yes, it's not been easy. But you're still standing. You're still alive. And you experienced it. You moved with it. You joined the dance. So those people who are miserable out there because they're looking for the happiness in the place where they lost it, these are the people who are left standing still. Stop looking for happiness in the same place you lost it and look for the happiness in the present. Look for the happiness in that new place, that place where the world is now standing. We live in a world which is changing. COVID-19 has transformed our planet. It's transformed our way of thinking. And the only route to happiness is to be here now. To accept this is the way the world is now. There's no going back to where we were. We might get closer to it, but in fact, I don't think we'll ever see an energy like the energies of 2019 and before. This is the new now. This is the new form of happiness. The world has changed. Don't be scared to change with it. And if you want to be even more powerful, lead the change. You be the changer. Be the transformer. Be one step ahead. Draw your own map. Create a brand new route. Become a trailblazer. Maybe that wasn't your style before, but maybe it can be now. And if you really don't think you can do that, then just accept this is the way the world is. Maybe now is the moment to really redefine your dreams. Dreams are the seeds of change. Nothing ever grows without a seed. Nothing ever changes without a dream. And just like nature is constantly on the move, so are we as human beings. So are you as an individual. So good luck with the changes in your life. Thank you for listening to me. I hope you have a beautiful day. Yours in love and peace, Peter. Namaste.